I'm so pissed. I didn't press the record button. I had a whole speech. I'm going to condense that. One. These pill bottles. Those pill bottles that I wasn't able to make you see, but you know about. Those are my only friends. And I'm really having a hard time with you not living here. And I was really hoping that Lauren would be a massive train wreck that wouldn't make you come back to here because her location's better for you, I understand. But that you would regret, or you would miss me more. You'd miss me more. Suffer the way I'm suffering. But I know you're not because you're busy. And even if you don't have like close best friends, you're seeing people like, I don't know. It's like just living in the city instead of the sticks. This camera is shaking because I've got the lithium thing going on right now. And I realized I hate this place deeply. And I went another video that wasn't recorded. I went into like the history of me being here, and quickly the first year it was kind of fun because it was new and I was happy. And then the next year, 2014, at first was okay. It was hard, but it was okay. I was with Poppy all day. She was like 3, around that, and but I was meeting the API moms, getting to know them. That eventually morphed into Acorns, which was bad. But at first it was like, cool, like I'm making friends. Like API is really strong here. Like this is, so surprising and great. But then you know how that turned out. And then in May, or then Paul was in the dental program, and at the end of it, like I had a really bad feeling because I somewhat knew either through him that the other students, young women, were looking for jobs before graduation and lining it up, and Paul wasn't doing anything. And I remember on the day of graduation, I had, like, it all hit me. I was like, he's not gonna be in the game. Like, he's way behind because he didn't line stuff up or try to, and I could feel his attitude, like his unconcern / depression or whatever. Like I realized I couldn't make him do it, and he wasn't doing it. And I got really, really, really intensely anxious, and that anxiety became, as the summer went on, like out of control. Is that when I tried to get a job? That might have been when I tried Barnes & Noble and then the caregiving place. I can't remember that. It doesn't matter. I was flipping out so hard, anxious. I was scary. I was having like the big bad attacks, scaring Poppy, scaring Paul. Pretty much becoming manic because I stopped sleeping, and I was so fearful, and I became obsessed with the idea of Nancy helping us out, and I was losing my mind, and I didn't want her to know that I was having mental problems because I thought she'd take Poppy away. Like that she had that power. She's someone, CPS, my daughter-in-law is, blah, blah. You never know. So I had that fear. And by the end of the summer, I think that's when I tried to get 2 jobs. I think that 2 different, not all at once, but I think that's when I was like, if you're not going to get a job, I will. And I got the job at Barnes & Noble, and Nancy was so happy. Like, she knew that wouldn't support us fully, but that I had to get up and go, like, someone's got to get a job, like, just that I did it, and I was doing it. And it flamed out there really fast. And then the caregiving job was impossible, and you know how that, like, I don't have to tell, that went badly and ended quickly. So I lost my mind. That's about when I stopped sleeping, I think. And I found this, and I was like, I need a therapist. And I found this woman nearby, and I kind of liked her, but she had dream catchers and books like The Secret, and she was okay. I kind of liked her, but she had those things, and then she started self-disclosing a bit about her daughter, and I flipped out, and I was like yelling at her, and I was like, stop talking about your daughter. I was like, every therapist I've ever had has talked about their lives, and like, it's not appropriate, and I don't want to hear it. And she was like, okay, fine. And I couldn't sit still in her seat, and I told her about my catastrophic fears, and cried like nervously, anxiously, and she was like, there's a program you can go to, or she was like, maybe you should go to the hospital. I probably told her suicidal thoughts. Maybe you should go to the hospital. And I was like, no. I was like, I can't leave my daughter. I can't do that. I cannot go to the hospital. I will not go to the hospital. I'm not really suicidal. And she was like, well, maybe, Mather Hospital has, they call it outpatient, whatever, partial hospital. They don't call it outpatient. They call it partial hospitalization. It's a day program in a locked ward. It's like some group therapy. I mean, a lot of group therapy, a psychiatrist, and some individual therapy. And like, that's what I did. And she was like, you'll be there for a week or two, and you'll probably get on some good medication. I was like, I'm not going on medication. I just need some therapy. She's like, And, but that thing was helpful. I appreciate her for getting me hooked up with that, because you need a therapist referral to get into it. And so I had that. And so 2 weeks turned into like late August. I was there till November. And the first couple of days, like, they want to set you up with meds and to do an intake. And the nurse practitioner that was head of the program, she was really nice, but I was like totally mentally ill. But she's talking to me, and I was like, hey, like, I'm really excited about being here and following the program, but is there any way I could I'm not interested in medication. I just feel like I really need some good therapy, and even group therapy. And she was like, I hear you. Part of this program, a main part of this program, is getting people stabilized on medication. So if that's not a good fit for you, then maybe you don't belong here. But why don't you give today a try, and give it a couple of days, and see the psychiatrist. He's very nice, and just have this discussion with him. I was like, okay. Feeling like I was in charge. And then I met with the doctor, and he was really nice. He was older. He was nice. He was warm and comforting. And he was like, he basically did a history, and he said I had a lot of trauma, and he was really sympathetic, and my bipolar history, and he was like, he's like, I understand you've been through a lot, especially with medication. He's like, I would recommend lithium. It's the oldest tried and true medication. It has the best, it's the gold standard, blah, blah, blah. He's like, and it's from the earth. It's a mineral. And all of a sudden I was like, okay. Like, I think my soul wanted this, knew that I couldn't handle it on my own. But it did help for him saying it was from the earth. Like, he could read me that I was like Earth Mother and didn't want nasty chemicals. But which, I'd had bad experiences with, legitimately. So I agreed to the lithium. And then I had a massive panic attack after talking to him, and because I'm still breastfeeding Poppy, and I didn't want to tell him because she was 3-ish, and I thought that would seem insane to anyone. So I requested a private meeting with my social worker, my individual social worker, who's hippie-ish looking, and I told her, like, my fear. And she's like, oh, come on. She's like, and she dragged in another nurse. She's like, Nurse Mary breastfed her kid till he was like 5. Like, that's not a big deal around here. Like, you don't have to worry. So then I felt better, but then I felt scared again. Like, what will lithium do to my breast milk? And the nurses were like, you have to stop lithium. Like, you have to. Then I was like, let me talk to the doctor about this. And the doctor was like, he's like, I have no idea. I'm going to look at it for you. And he searched through his books and on his medical resources online. And he was like, there's not a lot on here about it, but I'm getting that the amount that would appear in breast milk is negligible, and it's really your call. I'm not going to say it's safe or unsafe, but like, I would not tell you not to do it. And perhaps you should check with your daughter's pediatrician for more feedback. So I took that. Well, I was like, thank you. And I did talk to her, and she was like, she looked up the amounts in breast milk, and she's like, you're fine. She's like, maybe you should think about weaning, keep that in mind, but like, you don't have to stop right now while you start lithium. So I was like, okay. Then I felt better, and I cannot believe I'm going into all this. Lithium got stable. And it's like how I felt about living in Rocky Point. So that year was tumultuous, but had some good and it had some intensely bad. 2015, is that when you arrived? And you arrived, and like, I didn't notice how boring and lame it was here because you'd be here a few days a week, so I could handle the days when you weren't here, like no big whoop, because I knew you would be here. And that continued up until, when you left last month. And I feel hollowed out. I feel like I really, retirement in Portland or Queens or whatever, like, just moving anywhere. I think the amygdala is energizing me, because at first when Paul talked about moving, I was like, I couldn't even deal with the idea. But now I'm like, we have to go. I don't care about this house. The house is just a house. I like it, but I hate it here. I hate it here. I hate it here. And even if we move to Portland, and you're not there, and I don't have a close friend there, I'm just going to meet people, or I'm just going to be in like a nicer environment. Like, Poppy and I could walk to a bookstore, take a bus, to somewhere, some part of Portland that is appealing, even if we're somewhat far out, whatever. Just, everything that's nice about Portland. And the whole homeschool thing, I believe I'll make, at least friendly acquaintances. And I don't need, I don't have to, I need to see people. Like, before you ever came here, I wasn't close friends with those API women, but seeing them once or twice a week kind of kept me going. It was just some social interaction, which I realize I need. And I don't know where Paul stands. Like, we haven't had a conversation in days, because the last time he was so ambiguous, ambivalent, that I didn't want to push it. And I don't know. And I don't want to quit therapy very soon, or leave Dr. Allen until I'm on my best medication regime, whatever. And you know how I love him, but I really don't want to quit therapy. I don't want to. And Paul just started therapy. And it's going to be summer. Spring and summer are better. But then all that next long winter, like, is not the... I guess we could take our time next winter, like, painting things and fixing things, like, and then get going in the spring. And then I would have been in therapy for like a year, and so would Paul. Like, maybe that's a good plan. I don't know. I'm just scared. I kind of want to leave right now. Like, not right now, but like get going right now on all the things that we need to get the house ready to sell and go. And I think I'm going to run out of time, so I'm going to say goodbye. I'm pathetic. I feel pathetic. I'm crazy. Okay, bye.